Welcome back to Fantasy 1.0. Today we're going to talk about how to draft an awesome team in standard and auction drafts.
Put your seatbelt on and yield for the apocalypse, yeah. It's the apocalypse, yeah.
Draft strategy. Let's start with standard drafts. So you've prepared for your draft, you're in the room, boom, here we go. I'll give you some tips. This is what I do. So I've broken this into, so this sort of will work for any type of roster composition and league settings and so on. I've broken it down to early rounds, what you're looking for, the middle rounds, and then the final rounds. So in the early rounds, I focus on best player available. So I look at the, my own player rankings, based on league settings and everything. And I go, okay, this is the best player available. Boom, I'm taking him. And I do that for the first little bit, early rounds. I'm not looking at ceiling. These are obviously all good players. They're near the top of your lists. But I'm looking at floor. I don't want people that are, have a good chance of, sort of falling on their face, getting hurt. I don't want injury prone players and things like that. Which takes me to the middle rounds. So the middle rounds, that's where I'm going to start addressing any sort of deficiencies in my roster where, I don't have a shortstop and a second baseman. I'm going to start, gearing my attention towards those position players. I'm also going to be looking at ceiling as well as floor. So at that point, I'm looking for players that, that have a little bit more potential and can sort of, maybe they're in a position to break out. The end rounds, the final rounds, that's where I'm looking at myself personally. I'm picking up a lot of young players, first year, second year players, just ceiling. I'm looking for guys that are going to break out. I'm looking for Aaron Judge. I'm looking for Luis Severino, guys that are going to, give me a maximum value, because if they don't, then I can just drop them because they're replaceable on waivers. I can just, jump on the waiver wire and pick up somebody else who has had a good first 2 weeks of the season, and those guys are gone. Which takes us to auction drafts. Auction drafts are a totally different animal. As you know, these take about 3 hours in length. Everybody's given the same amount of money, and you sit there in this virtual room and you bid on players. Rule number one in auction drafts for me is just remember this. It's bang for your buck. You've all got the same amount of money, so you need to get players that are going to deliver the most value per dollar for the money that you're going to spend in that draft. You want people to overspend. You also want other people to spend early. So when you nominate a player, nominate players that you don't necessarily want, that are, the first, second, third rounds, that people are just going to start throwing their money at. And this brings me to adapt to the room. Some drafts are conservative, some are not. It depends. So sometimes they're going to come out, they're going to be spending money like crazy. Sometimes people are going to be holding back. Zig when they zag. Remember that? We said that in one of our previous broadcasts. So what I'm saying there is just adapt to the room. If people are going after attacking pitching, then you go after hitting. If people are holding back on spending money, it's time for you to spend money. Remember, you're trying to get the most value per dollar. Last point is I want you to have a little bit of money left over at the end of the draft. I don't want you to have a lot, and I don't want you to be sitting there with a whole bunch of money, and nothing to spend it on at the end. But have a few bucks put aside. A lot of guys won't. And what's going to happen at the end of them is that you're going to nominate players for $1 and you're going to get to keep them because nobody has any money left. And they're sort of sitting there watching and just can pick players that nobody else wants. That's going to help you fill out, get you that last reliever that you need, or that fifth or sixth starter, or, a utility guy that can come off the bench, or that high upside player like you're getting in the late rounds of the standard draft. Again, this is just what I do. Don't take it as gospel, but good luck in your drafts, and bam. Okay, so now that you know how to execute a standard and an auction draft in fantasy baseball, it's time for you to reach out to me and give me some feedback. So you can reach out to me at Twitter at @fantasy1.0. You can reach us at our website, www.fantasy1.0.com. Feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like and comment accordingly, and I'll get back to you.